The Council of Elrond. It's one of my favorite scenes from Fellowship. Here we learn about the wider world outside the Shire's small corner of Middle-earth. We begin to see the full epic nature of the story, and a simple hobbit adventure grows into an epic tale of the last days of the Noldor elves in Middle-earth. It's here that the fate of all free peoples are decided with the answer to a singular question: what to do with the One Ring. Some suggest it be hidden away or thrown into the sea, but it's our friend Boromir that has the most actionable and straightforward suggestion. Use it. Use the One Ring as a weapon against the enemy. Now, those that speak with authority, such as Gandalf, Elrond, they quickly convince the council that Boromir's suggestion is foolish, and they move the conversation along. They assure us that they cannot use the One Ring, of course. But why? Why can't they use it? What would happen? It's never actually explained. Personally, I relate to Boromir's eventual downfall. As a soldier trying desperately to protect his homeland, he is told to avoid using the one weapon that could actually save his people, and yet is never really told why he can't use it. In this video, I would like to redeem poor Boromir, and I would like to explore this one simple question. What exactly would happen if one of the heroes were to claim the One Ring? Well, welcome everyone to our channel. Here we discuss interesting ideas and lore surrounding Middle-earth and other worlds. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider liking this video or maybe even subscribing. Thanks again. Alright, let's dive in. What would happen if one of the heroes were to claim the One Ring? If they were able to join with it and had time to learn how to wield its power? What would be the result? Well, I think it's best to start at the beginning. What was the One Ring? What did it even do? How was it created and for what purpose? Long ago, Celebrimbor created 19 rings of power. These rings were distributed to the leaders of elves and men and dwarves. Now Sauron reasoned that the most efficient way to dominate the free peoples of Middle-earth was by controlling their leaders. He made the One Ring, and it gives its wearer the ability to control the thoughts of anyone that wears one of the lesser rings. Sauron could control what they see, what they hear, what they believe, their very minds and thoughts. That was the purpose of the One Ring, to covertly dominate the peoples of Middle-earth by mentally enslaving their leaders. Now, the One Ring would have to be immensely powerful to accomplish this. Sauron wants to control all 19 other rings simultaneously, so it stands to reason that the One Ring would have to be more powerful than the aggregate of all the lesser rings combined. Additionally, some of the minds connected to these rings were extremely impressive. Minds such as Elrond, Galadriel, Gandalf. To control these, the One Ring would need to be powerful indeed. And of course, Sauron wished not just to control them, but to dominate them completely. So clearly he needs the ring to be mighty. But where would he find such power? In our real world, physics tells us that power or energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be moved from one location to another, or flow from one type of energy to a different type. It is conserved. Tolkien's world worked much the same as ours. Sauron could not just create such power out of thin air. It had to be extracted from another source and then moved into the ring. But what power source could Sauron pull from? Well, he displaced it from within himself. He removed the greater part of his power and infused it into the ring, giving him the strength that he needed. But what exactly did he remove from himself and place into the ring? Was it his magic? Well, no. Sauron does not really have magical abilities in the traditional sense of that phrase. He is a god, and as such, he does things through divine will. Did he infuse the ring with his mind, with his consciousness? Again, no. The ring does not have his personality or memories. Instead, he transferred into the ring part of his eternal essence, his life force, his spirit. Tolkien calls it Fia, the fire of life, the soul. So, here is my answer to the question. It seems to me, at least, if one were to claim the One Ring, to join with it, to accept it into your being, one would be essentially merging Sauron's displaced spirit with their own. You would not gain Sauron's mind or personality or memories. Those would still remain your own. You would still speak in your own way and have your own personal experiences to draw from. But your innermost spirit would become a mix. Half Sauron, half yourself. And let's be honest, half of Sauron is way more than half of you. I think you would evolve into a Sauron of sorts, but with your own personality. A you-flavored Sauron. So what would be the exact outcome of this hybrid between you and Sauron? What specifically are you mixing into yourself? I think all we need to do is consider who Sauron was at his core. Who really was Sauron without his personality or memories? At his very heart, what was he? If you would like a more in-depth conversation around Sauron's character and motivations, please see our previous video entitled, "Is Sauron the Hero of His Own Story?" There we dive deep into the subject. But for here, let's keep it brief. Sauron was the god of order. He was the god of structure. He was a perfectionist and needed all things to work perfectly together. To bring order and structure to the world, he needed to dominate all life at the expense of free will. Were you to truly accept the One Ring, you would essentially become the god of order and seek to create such a world. We get a great example of this when Galadriel is tempted to take the ring in Lothlorien. She gives us a vision of what a Galadriel-Sauron hybrid would look like. I shall not be dark, but beautiful and terrible as the morning and the night, fair as the sea and sun and snow upon the mountain. All shall love me and despair. You see, Galadriel is telling us that she would retain the basic characteristics of who she is, her personality, her mind, if you will. She is beautiful, full of light, desirable, a person that others find intriguing and want to be close to. Were she to take the ring, all of these traits would remain, but amplified to an unbearable magnitude. All would fall hopelessly in love or infatuated with her. All peoples would be so smitten that they would be unable to resist even the slightest wish or command. She would be free to order and structure the world as she saw fit, and in doing so, would dominate all life, and free will would become extinct. In the end, she's describing herself as essentially a new Sauron, just with a very different look and feel. Now, let's use this same template to consider others. I'd like to start with Saruman the White. What would Saruman be like with the One Ring? Well, in my mind, Saruman is the god of physics and deep scientific knowledge. He is arguably the most intelligent being in all of Middle-earth. People that hear his voice are immediately struck with how wise he is, and how embarrassingly unintelligent others seem by comparison. When Theoden King and Gandalf the White confront him in Isengard, we hear the following. It was a delight to hear Saruman's voice speaking, and all that said seemed wise and reasonable, and a desire awoke in them by swift agreement to seem wise themselves. When others spoke, they seemed harsh and uncouth by contrast. You see, with the One Ring, I suspect Saruman's aura of intelligence would have grown to an unbearable magnitude. He would sound like Einstein times Newton times 1,000. All of those that heard his voice would instantly agree with anything he spoke, and feel too unintelligent or unworthy to even consider a different point of view. He would be free to order and structure the world as he saw fit, and in doing, dominate all life. Free will would become extinct. While his personality is quite different from Sauron's, the end result is essentially the same. I think we could also apply this same logic to Aragorn. Aragorn represents the greatest leader on Middle-earth. When others meet him, they immediately feel a connection and are willing to follow him. Even great princes and heroes like Legolas and Gimli are willing to follow Aragorn into, honestly, unreasonable situations. The ghost army at Dunharrow, the unwinnable battle of Helm's Deep, the charge on the fields of the Pelennor. He leads, and others choose to follow. Aragorn's leadership traits would be amplified by the ring to such a degree that all peoples would surrender their free will and follow him as their king. He would dominate all life at the expense of free will. Now, we started down this path by considering Boromir's position, and I definitely don't want to leave him out. It's about time Boromir got some love. What type of Sauron would he be? In my perspective, Boromir at his heart is a soldier. He would become a legendary general of a legendary army that would sweep across Middle-earth. In time, he would come to dominate all life as a conqueror, and free will would be no more. Lastly, I would like to consider the greatest hero of the Third Age. He may not be an elven champion or a great human warrior, but he is a gardener. I'm of course talking about our Samwise Gamgee. There is an extremely interesting scene where Sam is also tempted by the ring. This scene is not in Peter Jackson's movies, and honestly, it is a very small part of the overall narrative. But I think it highlights the effect of the ring quite well. It happens just after his encounter with Shelob the spider. Frodo has been captured and taken to the Tower of Cirith Ungol. Sam is followed, trying to save his friend. While wearing the ring, he gets his first view of the plains of Gorgoroth in Mordor, and it took his breath away. Never before had he seen a land so tortured, so bereft of growing things, a desert of ash without a hint of green trees or blowing grass. For a gardener such as Sam, it was heartbreaking. But then, the ring starts to tempt our hero. Wild fantasies arose in his mind, and then all the clouds rolled away, and the white sun shone, and at his command, the Vale of Gorgoroth became a garden of flowers and trees, and brought forth fruit. You see, if Sam could have indeed joined with the ring and somehow learned to harness its power, he would have become the master gardener. He would have commanded an army of gardeners to reshape the very earth. He would have ordered trees and forests and grass, and all the world would have become his garden. He would have terraformed the entire face of his planet. He would literally dominate all life. I must admit, of all the Sauron hybrids that could have been, if I was forced to choose one, there's just something about a Sauron gardener that appeals to me. Well, there you have it. That's the answer to Boromir's question. Of course, these thoughts are only my own opinion. Tolkien never gives us a direct answer. I do think there is very compelling evidence in the story as to my theories here, but there is always room for other interpretations. What do you think would happen if one of the heroes took the ring? Do you have a different theory or a different set of ideas? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please, consider leaving a comment with your ideas. I would really love to hear your perspective. And I hope you found this interesting. As always, thanks again for watching.